Lionel Messi scored a hat-trick on Tuesday and equaled the all-time World Cup goals record. On Wednesday, Cristiano Ronaldo touched the ball 29 times in 90 minutes, produced 0 shots on target, missed 2 glorious chances to win the game, and his own manager stood in front of the cameras afterward and said it made no sense to take him off. 24 hours, 2 men. The most uncomfortable comparison in football just became impossible to ignore. This is not a story about one bad game. This is the story of a problem. Roberto Martinez has been refusing to name for 3 years, and what happened in Houston on Wednesday night may finally force him to say it out loud. Ronaldo has now gone 10 consecutive games without a goal in major competitions. That includes World Cups and European Championships combined. He has not scored a non-penalty goal in a major tournament since June 19, 2021. 5 years, 3 tournaments. And in each of those 3 tournaments, the same question has followed Portugal into every press conference, every team sheet, every tactical discussion. What exactly is Ronaldo's role? And is he helping or hurting this team? The answer in 2022 was complicated by Portugal's depth. They were good enough to carry his quiet spells. The answer at Euro 2024 was the same question, louder. The answer in 2026 was identical to 2016. He was the main man. And while in 2016 that decision made sense because Portugal needed him desperately, in 2026 it requires a completely different level of justification. Because what Portugal have behind Ronaldo now is not a squad in need of a savior. It is arguably the most talented Portuguese midfield generation in history. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves, Bernardo Silva, 4 world-class players, and every one of them spent Wednesday night bending their game to try to find a 41-year-old who was barely moving. João Neves put Portugal ahead with a header in the 6th minute from Pedro Neto's cross. Not Ronaldo. Neves, the 20-year-old who plays his club football at Paris Saint-Germain, had the energy and movement that created the space Portugal needed to score. For 6 minutes, Portugal looked exactly like the team they could be. Sharp, direct, clinical through multiple channels. Then they scored. And then everything broke down. Martinez attributed Portugal's problems to what happened after that early goal. Scoring made them want to keep possession rather than push for a second, which gave DR Congo time to reorganize their defensive structure and set up their counterattacks. That is a reasonable tactical observation. What Martinez did not say, what he has never said out loud, is why Portugal were so toothless in the final third for the next 84 minutes. Of the Portugal starting 11, only Bernardo Silva touched the ball fewer times than Ronaldo. Ronaldo's teammates persisted in trying to find him at all costs. At times, their unselfishness to feed the number 7 looked costly. They were squandering better chances to give him service. Ronaldo had 2 clear opportunities to win the match. The first fell to him inside the penalty area in the second half, the kind of chance he has buried thousands of times in club football. He could not convert. The second arrived late when Portugal were pushing desperately for a winner and DR Congo were beginning to tire. He could not convert that either. It was the 6th time in his World Cup career that Ronaldo finished a game without a single shot on target. 6 times at football's biggest tournament. 6 times his team played for 90 minutes around a man who produced nothing in front of goal. DR Congo were playing at the World Cup for the first time in 52 years. They came to Houston as enormous underdogs, without the resources, the squad depth, or the preparation time of a European nation. Their coach organized them to sit deep, defend their lines, and make Portugal find a way through a low block. It is not a revolutionary tactical plan. Every team at this level knows how to do it. The question is whether Portugal have the tools to break it down when Ronaldo is not scoring. On Wednesday, the answer was no. Yoane Wissa headed DR Congo level in first half stoppage time, and Portugal spent the entire second half creating half chances they could not finish, because the player their system is designed to serve was giving them nothing back. Portugal have scored just 1 goal in their past 4 matches in major competitions. 1 goal in 4 games. With Bruno Fernandes, with Bernardo Silva, with Rafael Leao and Pedro Neto, and a midfield that any other national team in this tournament would consider a generational gift. 1 goal in 4 major competition matches. That is not a squad problem. That is a structural problem. And the structure is built entirely around accommodating a forward whose last meaningful contribution to Portugal in a major tournament came 5 years ago. Roberto Martinez stood in the post-match press conference and said there was no sense in taking Ronaldo off. He then compared Portugal's draw to Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia in 2022, before going on to win the tournament. It is not an unreasonable comparison in isolation, but Argentina's comeback from that Saudi Arabia defeat was built on Messi, a player who was actively carrying them, scoring in knockout rounds, delivering in moments that mattered. Messi had scored a hat-trick the night before this match. Haaland and Mbappe both scored braces on the same day. Ronaldo watched all of that from the same tournament, walked onto the pitch in Houston, and produced 0 shots on target in 90 minutes. Martinez will not drop him for Uzbekistan. That is not in question. Ronaldo will start. He will play. The system will be built around him again. And if Portugal get through the group stage and face a team with the defensive organization and tactical discipline of a knockout round opponent, a team more prepared than DR Congo, better drilled with more time to study Portugal's patterns, the question Martinez is refusing to answer will become the question the entire tournament is asking. Portugal have the midfield to win this World Cup. Whether Ronaldo is limiting them is no longer a fringe take from opposition fans. It is what the match data says. It is what the footage shows. And it is what Roberto Martinez's own post-match explanation, read carefully enough, almost admits without ever quite saying it.